crash! Help! Everything melted into a huge black blob. Pieces of glass stuck into my face as the car flew and rolled. My leg and eyebrows lit on fire and everything slowed down. And I saw everybody. They were screaming and being hit by the glass too. Then right before my eyes, they caught fire, and they all started painfully melting, and all I could do was watch. They were helplessly yelling, "Help!" and "Save me!" My friends and even my girlfriend, all melting away, right there, and nothing I can do about it. Then I blacked out, and everything went in fast motion again. We hit the ground hard, and I stopped breathing. I heard someone say, "They're over there!" Then they approached us all in the car, huffing and puffing. My mom was with them, and when she saw me, she cursed. Then the cop took off his hat and put it to his chest and said, "Another fatal hit and run. I'm sorry for your loss." This is it, I thought to myself. The end. My eyes squinted as I awoke in the hospital. 3 nurses were staring at me. "He's alive," one of the nurses says. "Barely," another nurse says. I forced my chocolate eyes to wander towards the end of my resting spot. I was draped in a white hospital blanket with red liquid seeped into all the little stitches near my leg. I had a long snowy ribbon wrapped around my head, and it hurt badly. I knew I was going to suffer sleeping that night. When night came while Simon was sleeping, an operation was called to order. Simon Bamboo came from a very poor family living in poverty, and they couldn't afford the prosthetic parts that were needed during the operation. A left leg and a left ear. They had both been blown off in the car accident. But he desperately needed them, so the surgery proceeded. The next morning, Simon awoke in pain. He attempted to get out of his sleeping quarters, which was mostly white with some brown dried blood stains, and he yelped. He had a yellow stick that you play baseball with implanted in his left leg and a tuna can stitched to where his left ear should be. Simon suffered head trauma during the accident and had to relearn how to walk, talk, and eat all over again. He had also been diagnosed as being mentally unstable. After 3 years in the hospital, Simon had learned how to walk and talk, but still stumbled on some of his words because of his uniquely shaped face, and how to eat, but kind of. Simon had to socialize more with people, but the nurses thought he wasn't advanced enough to socialize with adults, so they brought in their kids, Kate, Eric, and Taylor. They had experience with misshapen people and socialized well. They became fast friends, and Simon was progressing. Then the day came when he looked in the mirror. I screamed and touched my face. It was wrinkled in parts, missing in others, and melting away like my heart. And in that very moment, everything changed. The transformation had started. He was crazier than ever, and he acted like an animal and showed signs of cannibalism. Then the police came and said on his room speaker, "Simon Bamboo, you are now being sent to a mental facility until you become stable." You could hear mumbling coming from his room. "What are you trying to say, Simon?" one of the cops said, and then it came through the speaker clearly. "My name is not Simon, it's Ted." There was the sound of glass smashing. He had jumped out the window. The mental man was loose and on the hunt. "We must find Ted," he yelled, and then shook his head and said, "I mean Simon. We must find Simon." But everybody knew that that boy they had saved that night was no longer an innocent child looking for help. He was now a new person, Ted. I ran and ran that night, looking for a place to hide, and all I kept whispering to myself was, why do we have to be like this? I ran under a dock with shallow water grabbing at my foot and the bottom of my bat. I became hungry, but I was alone. No family, no friends, just all alone. That night, all I ate was a mouse, and then I could think about was revenge. Revenge on all those pretty humans. Ted had no home, and he stayed anywhere he could get his hands on people. The mental facility never stopped searching for this insane man, until his first attack day, when the cops got a little closer to finding Ted. They were at Canopy Lake Park, a happy place for all families, until you were about to hear what happened. Ted was spotted. Everybody was called to the gate, but the gate was locked and closed. Then on the loudspeaker said, "Everybody stay calm and tell Kate, Taylor, and Eric to climb the tower in which I am in. Ted is looking for you." The kids looked at each other and ran towards the tower. They climbed as fast as they could to get to the top to meet the lady who had called them up there. She said, "Kids, stay up here because Ted won't be able to get you up here. But I have to go calm the crowd. Remember, don't leave the tower." After she left right away, Kate and Eric decided that they would be safer if they left the tower. Kate said, "I think it'd be safer if we went to the water gun area, so if Ted comes, we could spray him with water." But Eric disagreed. He said, "No, we should go to the ball pit, so if Ted comes, we could throw balls at him." Then all Taylor did the whole time was shake her head. Then she said, I think we should stay right here where the lady told us to stay. Eric and Kate said no and couldn't agree whose plan to follow. So they both climbed down and split up. It was dark when Ted had left, and it was half an hour later when Kate and Eric were found. They were both alive, but Kate was missing 3 fingers and had severe damage to her right leg. Eric was worse. He was missing his left hand and right ear. They found both kids' faces had been scribbled on by Ted, and they were both knocked out. But Taylor was safe and scared to see what this man had done to her friends. Their parents were the nurses at Ted's arrival, and the ones who performed the operations, and the ones who saved his life. But Ted sought revenge for them, because after seeing himself in the mirror, it was like he had forgotten everything all over again. He didn't remember the car accident, so he thought that they had done that to him. He tried to get even, but the closest he got to them was their kids. He tried to make them look like him to feel less alone. Ted did this to people trying to look like other people, not to be a standout. He wanted a family, but he doesn't remember how to make friends, so this is his way of trying. Ted has one lost family member that he's never met. He lives under people's houses, and he's also mental, if not more mental than Ted. I lie awake at night, praying that the day to never to come when Ted meets Albertator.